Good evening, I'm Darryl Forges. This is local news first on CBS 8 and ABC Montgomery. A lot of people that you just said lived in and around Montgomery during the civil rights movement, and many marched, held hands, and protested with civil rights icons. A lot of people all across the neighborhoods were upset and up in arms after Greg Gunn was shot and killed by A.C. Smith, the Montgomery police officer. It's unbelievably humbling to see that this is where it all started. This is where the movement changed everything for them. Does race have an impact on the procedures when it comes to using force?
Oh, that's a brutal question. I think it has nothing to do with it.
Why are they checking car seats? Statistics show that between 75 to 85% of car seats like this are put in incorrectly. Even though lawmakers are out of session right now, they're still working hard inside of the State House. Elise, you're absolutely right. Now, this road right here is unpaved, just like any other country road. And now Samsung is bringing technology to a whole different world, a virtual world.
Oh! 0 for 3. I want to
0 for 3. I'm trying to spot him, okay? I'm trying to help him out.
I think I did pretty decent.
Hey, I'll give you an E for effort. You got the pants today, got the cleats, got the glove. You came ready to play. If this jail does get overcrowded, they're going to have to get revenue from somewhere, which means taxpayers could fit the bill. He proclaimed himself as the greatest of all time, and no one disputed that. The great Muhammad Ali died late last night, and people are remembering what he did not only inside the ring, but also around the world. Sports Director Vince Lynn is in our Montgomery newsroom tonight with tonight's big story. Vince? The river region wasn't the only part of the state affected by the heavy rains. Much of Birmingham saw homes destroyed by the storms. Brittany Bivens spoke with one family who was affected by the storm. Topping our morning buzz, former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg may be considering a possible independent presidential run. That's what a source told CNN on Saturday. Who's the year's top sellers in iTunes? And as award season picks up steam, the Screen Actors Guild Award releases its nominations. If you're a Sriracha fan, we have some hot news. See what I just did there? And Walmart workers are getting a big reward. News anchor Darryl Hood has details in today's On Your Side report. I would. I mean,
you'd sing to the police officers?
I wouldn't mind singing to our viewers one day.
Go ahead, Darryl.
See, the way my voice is set up today, I don't think it's going to work.
What song would you sing? Just give us a little bit.
I don't know.
Give us a little Usher.
A
little bit.
Yeah.
Should
I go ahead and start doing the dance moves too?
Yeah.
No, As of right now, there's a lot of people outside of the home, but this is exactly where the man died, right here near the home by his porch. And right now, family members and neighbors are wanting to know why.
To see somebody suffer, man, that's something you'll never forget.
Aaron Jordan is still in shock after the death of his uncle, Greg Gunn. Jordan was in the home when Gunn lived at the time of the shooting. Both Jordan and other people in the Mobile Heights community say they heard the commotion early Thursday morning.
He was saying, "Mama, Mama." He was asking for help. He was rapping on this door, asking his neighbor for help.
Carvin!
That neighbor was Colvin Henson.
Before I could get to my phone, the shots right out. Pop, 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 pop.
Henson then went outside to see what was going on, and that's when he found Greg Gunn.
His head was laying right there. The panel pole was laying over here. And he never moved once he went down. He didn't move no more.
Authorities say Gunn died at the scene, an image many neighbors won't soon forget.
A little girl who had to be about 5 wearing a pink robe walked across the street and walked up to the body. And that was surreal for me.
Jordan still has many questions about what happened, but through the pain and the heartache, he's remembering lessons he learned from his uncle.
He's going to show you how to get $1. And I ain't talking about hustling, just working, period. Ask anybody about it, they'll tell you.
As of right now, police officers have not released detailed information about that officer, but they do say he's young and has been on the force for under 4 years. Currently, right now, he's been placed on administrative leave, which is protocol. In Montgomery, Darryl Forges, Alabama News Network. Michael Brown.
You took my son away from me.
Eric Garner. And Walter Scott in South Carolina, who was shot in the back by an officer. These names have resonated across the country because of officer-involved shootings and killings. It's caused a big uproar across the country with protests and the start of the Black Lives Matter movement. Montgomery police say when it comes to training officers, especially on the use of force, it starts on day one.
Snap to them. Is that clear?
At the Montgomery Police Academy, and everyone doesn't make the cut to become an officer.
We try to have classes around 30 people. It seems to be a good number to have. Our dropout rate is usually between 25 to 35%.
Police officer trainees go through several tests to start the academy, including state-mandated physical agility testing, which consists of push-ups, sit-ups, a mile run, and an obstacle course.
Pushing a car, then you have to run a short distance and climb a fence, run a short distance, climb through a window-shaped obstacle, run a short distance and go over a balance beam that's only a foot off the ground, and then drag a dummy a set determined amount of feet.
Once the trainees pass the physical tests, they're in the classroom for several weeks learning about the law. Once they pass that, it's time to go back out and learn about the proper techniques when it comes to using firearms.
Each recruit has to shoot 3 qualifications. We press them to get 3. If they get 2 out of 3, they're still good to go. If they get 1 out of 3, they have to go to remedial training.
If trainees fail to make any of the requirements, they're cut from the course and cannot train or come back to the academy for at least 2 years by the Alabama Police Officer Standards and Training Commission. But the trainees are not only trained on how to use firearms, but also when. That's where the training on the use of force comes into play. There are several guidelines the trainees must follow when it comes to the use of force.
Their use of force must be within the boundaries of the U.S. Constitution, that law, and federal law. Next, they must be within the boundaries of any statutory or state law. They must also look at the limits of the applicable departmental policies, procedures, and the training they went through. And fourthly, it must be in compliance with all the equipment that we issue them around their belt.
This part of the use of force training is only one of over 180 PowerPoint slides and several videos. Even though the officer trainees go through several tests over the use of force in the classroom, Montgomery police say it's important to do reality-based training.
Here at the Police Academy, we have reality-based training as far as video simulation. We'll actually have, we'll put them on the range and we'll stress them out. Mental preparation is a big deal.
After going over parts of the use of force process, I decided to do one of the reality-based trainings to get a better understanding of what officers have to go through. One of the trainings is a simulator, which puts trainees in several situations in which they have to speak to a simulator as if it was an actual situation, and they determine when it's the right time to use their weapon.
SWAT, we have school and workplace violence, non-taser, we have officer down.
In the scenario I did, there was a domestic violence call in which a man was injured by his girlfriend. It was late at night with limited visibility.
What's in our hands? Remember, okay, screwdriver. Screwdriver will it incapacitate you? Will it hurt you?
It could.
Okay, well, I wouldn't probably be like I am right now. Okay.
Hey, man, hey, put the weapon down. Put the weapon down. Put the weapon down, put your hands up.
Wow. See how fast that is?
It was just a split second. The woman reached in her back pocket for a gun, and since I felt threatened, I responded with gunshots. But when it comes to the scenarios, police say they're never the same.
One time we'll make her reach in her back and grab a weapon. The next time she'll reach in her back and she grabs a bottle of liquor. But because it's dark, and because she just threw a knife down, and because I knew she just cut her boyfriend, those are key factors that works in an officer's behavior should deadly forces be used. Because all of a sudden she reaches back here. Well, what is that officer led to believe she's reaching for?
With all the controversy surrounding officers and the use of force across the country,
Your hands out now!
There's one question I had to ask when it comes to the issue. Does race have an impact on the procedures when it comes to using force?
Oh, that's a brutal question. I'd like to answer that question and say, no, I don't think so. I think it has nothing to do with it. Me personally speaking, I think it has all to do with the way they're trained. At least that's what I'd like to believe in my training world, is that you process that particular situation. The things that were presented to you led you to use this reasonable response. And I have a hard time believing that it has something to do with race. At least, and I'm going to stay with that because I am truly a police officer, and I believe in law enforcement all across this country and us doing it the right way.